Hello students, in present video I am going to explain about 11th problem from consignment accounts topic. First 10 problems videos links are available in the description box. I am taking this question from Telangana State Telugu Academy Inter Second Year Accountancy Textbook. But this video is useful to all commerce students who want to know about consignment accounts. Let us see the question first. Manasvi of Medak consigned 50 boxes of medicine to Vedagna of LRT. So Manasvi is a trader who is doing her business in Medak. She wants to sell her goods in LRT also. Vedagna is living in LRT. So Manasvi is sending her goods to Vedagna on consignment basis. As Manasvi is sending the goods, she is known as consignor. To whom these goods are sent? Vedagna. So Vedagna is consignee. The cost of each box is 800 rupees and invoice price is 1000 rupees each box. So one box cost price is 800 rupees and invoice price is 1000 rupees. If you recollect first 10 problems, only one price he used to give. That price is known as cost price. But in 11th problem, new point is he is giving two prices, cost price and invoice price. This is a new point. Manasvi paid 2500 for forwarding goods. Forwarding means to send, maybe transportation expenditure or any other related expenses. Consignor is spending 2500 rupees to send these goods to other place. Vedagna advanced 25,000 rupees to Manasvi and sent account sales with the details. So here this 25,000 is known as advance. So consignor may demand this advance in three forms: cash form, check or DD form, bills of exchange form. There is no information given here. So our assumption is consignor is receiving this amount through a check. With the details, sales 40 boxes at the rate of 1000 rupees each. Consignor sent 50 boxes on consignment basis, but consignee sold only 40 boxes. So there is unsold stock. 10 boxes are unsold. These 40 boxes consignee sold at the rate of 1000 rupees each. Selling expenses are 1000. Whose expenses? Consignee's expenses. 1000 rupees. This is selling expenditure. And her commission is 1500 rupees. Directly commission amount is given. No need to calculate. Commission is of three types now. Ordinary commission, del creditor commission, overriding commission. As there is no proper information in here, our assumption is this is ordinary commission. Pass necessary journal entries in the books of Manasvi. Not only in Manasvi books, not only in consignor's books, even in consignee's books also we will see the accounts. And he is asking to prepare only journal. But to write all journal entries, we need ledger accounts also. So full-fledged problem we are going to do. Ledger and journal of a consignor and a consignee. First, we will complete consignor's books. In consignor's books, journal. Based on this journal entries, ledger. So journal, while explaining the problem, I will write here the journal entries and I will explain. Ledger accounts I will show on the board. So in consignor's books, we have to prepare three accounts. First one, Yella Reddy consignment account. So consignor is living in Medak. Consignor's area's name we should not write here. Consignee's area's name always we should mention. So consignee is living in LRD place now. So LRD consignment account we should prepare. Then consignee account. In present problem, consignee's name is Vedagna. So Vedagna account. Third one, goods sent on consignment account. These three accounts we have to prepare in consignor's books. See the heading? Ledger of Manasvi in brackets consignor. Actually speaking, first journal of Manasvi we should prepare. All journal entries we should write. Below to that, ledger of consignor we should prepare. Let us see the transactions one by one. We are preparing accounts in Manasvi books now. Therefore, all transactions we should analyze from Manasvi's point of view. Our assumption is we are working as an accountant in Manasvi's firm. So first what happened? Manasvi sent 50 boxes on consignment basis. So consignment account, why we prepare? To know the profit or loss in consignment business. Therefore, all expenses and incomes of consignment business we should take in this account. So when any account contains expenses and incomes, that account comes under nominal account. Accounts are of three types: personal accounts, real accounts, and nominal accounts. As expenses and incomes we are going to write in this account, it is a nominal account. So while preparing this account, nominal account rules we should follow. What is nominal account rule? Debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. As per that rule, consignment business related expenses and losses, debit side we should show. Consignment business related incomes and gains, credit side. Come to second account, Vedagna account. Why we prepare this account? To know the final due amount from Vedagna. So by mentioning all these details, by mentioning her sales, her commission, her expenses, she sends account sales to us. But in our books also we have to record these transactions now. So in Manasvi books, in Vedagna's account, in Consignee's account, Manasvi is going to record all those transactions. And finally, by preparing this account, she comes to know how much amount is due from Vedagna. Third one, goods sent on consignment account. So to know about the goods details, consignor prepares this account. So this account tells about goods information now. Therefore, this account is a real account. Manasvi account, with the person's name we are preparing this account. So it is a personal account. Nominal account, personal account, and a real account. Three we are going to prepare. First transaction is consignor is sending 50 boxes on consignment basis. So these are 50 boxes at the rate of 1000 rupees each. Consignor is sending to consignee. That amount becomes value of the goods sent on consignment. So this is one kind of expenditure. So it should be debited to consignment account. So what to write in particulars column? 2. We are sending goods on consignment basis now. That sentence we should write. 2 goods sent on consignment account. Now the question is 50 boxes into how much we should write? Whether 800 rupees each or 1000 rupees each. And what is the meaning of invoice price? Actually speaking, the value of one product is 800 rupees. But when consignor is sending pro forma invoice to consignee by mentioning the details of goods sent on consignment, if consignor mentions cost price in the pro forma invoice, then consignee will become able to know the profit earned by consignor. So if consignee knows about the profit of consignor, there are two dangers. First one, consignee may demand for a higher commission. Second problem, consignee may start a competing business. So to avoid these two risks, instead of mentioning the actual price, cost price, consignor increases the price of these goods. A higher price will be mentioned in pro forma invoice. That price is known as invoice price or loaded price or selling price. So instead of mentioning 800 rupees, when consignor mentions 1000 rupees as a one product cost, then even though consignee calculates consignor's profit, so that profit will not be a higher amount. So he will not get attracted towards his business. He may not demand for extra commission. These are the benefits to consignor. Not only that, suppose original price is mentioned in the pro forma invoice. Then in consignee's mind, he knows that one product cost is 800 rupees. Minimum at 800 she has to sell. So she may try to sell at 800 or hardly 850. 900, not more than that. Suppose if 1000 is mentioned as a product price in pro forma invoice, then consignee tries to sell that product at 1000 rupees or about 1000 rupees. So consignor can get a best price for his products. So because of all these reasons, instead of mentioning cost price, original price, sometimes consignor may mention invoice price, a dummy price in the pro forma invoice. When dummy price is mentioned in pro forma invoice, she should remember that she has mentioned 1000 instead of 800. So to remember that point, while writing the value here, instead of taking 800 rupees, we have to write 1000 rupees only. So remember, the entry for goods sent on consignment, it should be made at invoice price, not at cost price. Then 1000 rupees into 50,000 rupees. Actually speaking, 40,000 rupees we should write, because original price of each product is 800 rupees, no? So 50 boxes into 800 rupees each, 40,000 we should write. But wantedly we are writing a wrong amount. 50,000 we are writing. So how much extra we are showing here? 10,000. 50,000 rupees minus 40,000 rupees. 10,000 extra we are showing. This 10,000 is known as loading or profit margin. Let us see the entry for this. In LRD consignment account, debit side we posted as 2 goods sent on consignment account. If you want to post like that, while writing the journal entry, LRD consignment account should be debited and goods sent on consignment account should be credited. So this is the entry for sending the goods on consignment basis. LRT consignment account data to goods sent on consignment account, being goods are sent on consignment basis. That is the narration. Now same entry appears in goods sent on consignment account also. As goods sent on consignment account is credited, in this account credit side we should post this entry. By what to write? Other side. Debit side we wrote LRD consignment account. Write down that. By LRD consignment account. Amount is 50,000 rupees. Next, consignor's expenses. Consignor spent 2,500 towards forwarding charges. So for consignment business, 2,500 is expenditure. Expenditure should be debited to consignment account because consignment account is a nominal account. So debit side 2,500 we should write. And what to write for that in particulars column? Our assumption is consignor paid this amount through a check. So bank balance is decreasing. Therefore we should write to bank account. Based on this posting, let us frame the entry for consignor's expenses. In LRD consignment account, debit side we are writing to bank. If you want to post like this, in journal entry, LRD consignment account should be debited and bank account should be credited. So LRD consignment account data to bank account, being the entry for the expenses of consignor. And this entry you need not to post for second time, because bank account we are not preparing here. Next come to advance. So advance is received from Vedagna, consignee. Our assumption is we are receiving a check towards this 25,000 rupees. So this check, instead of going to Vedagna's bank and submitting there, Manasvi deposits this check in her bank. So Manasvi's bank will collect that money from Vedagna's bank and it will be deposited in Manasvi's bank account. So Manasvi's bank is becoming a receiver here. Therefore, in journal entry, bank account should be debited, because bank account is a personal account. With any organization name, if you open one account, it is a personal account. Actually speaking, one bank name we write here, SBI account, HDFC account. So that is a personal account. Personal account rule, debit the receiver, credit the giver. So Manasvi's bank is receiving money, no? So bank is a receiver. Therefore we are debiting. And who is giving this money? Vedagna. So Vedagna account is also a personal account. Personal account rule, debit the receiver, credit the giver. She is a giver. Therefore, we should credit Vedagna's account. Entry is bank account debtor to Vedagna account, being advance is received through a check. Now this entry we should post in ledger of Manasvi. Bank account we are not preparing. Vedagna account we are preparing. As Vedagna account is credited in the entry, in Vedagna's account credit side we should post this entry. So by what to write? Debit account name. We debited bank account now. By bank account. Advance amount 25,000 rupees. So advance entry is not coming in consignment account because in journal entry consignment account is not there. Not only that, when advance is coming from consignee, it is not an income to us because at present that amount is coming. In future, consignee is going to deduct that amount from sales income and the remaining amount only she is going to send to us. So this is not an income to us. We are liable to consignee because of this amount. Therefore, you should not show that in consignment account. Next come to sales. Consignee sold 40 boxes at the rate of 1000 rupees each. So for consignment business, sale is an income. So incomes are to be credited to consignment account. So credit side we should write. By what to write? This income from whom we should receive? From consignee. So for this income, consignee is becoming a debtor because she has to pay that amount to consignor. In consignor's books only we are preparing accounts now. So to the consignor, consignee is becoming a debtor. Debtor means asset. All assets show a debit balance. Therefore, Vedagna's account should be debited. Vedagna's account debtor to in consignment account credit side we are posting. If you want to post like that, while writing the journal entry, LR&D consignment account should be credited to LR&D consignment account. This is the entry for sales. Now, Vedagna account is debited. Therefore, in Vedagna's account, debit side we should post. 2. What to write? We credited LR&D consignment account. Write down that account name. Similarly, LR&D consignment account is created now. So in consignment account, credit side we should post. What to write? We debited Vedagna's account. Write down that. Amount is 40 boxes are sold at the rate of 1000 rupees each. 40 into 1000. 40,000. Here also write down the amount. Narration being the entry for sales. Next, consignee's expenses 1000 rupees. So for consignment business, this 1000 is expenditure. Expenditure is to be debited to this account now. So 1000 should be debited. Means while writing the journal entry, LR&D consignment account should be debited. LR&D consignment account debtor to what to write? At present, Vedagna is paying this 1000 rupees. But in future, we have to return that amount to her. So to us, to consignor, consignee is becoming a creditor. Creditor is a liability. Liability shows a credit balance. Therefore, we should credit Vedagna's account. So for consignee's expenditure, entry is LR&D consignment account debtor to Vedagna's account. Narration being the entry for consignee's expenses. As LR&D consignment account is debited, in consignment account debit side we should post this entry. What to write in particulars column? We created Vedagna's account. Write down that. As Vedagna account is credited, in Vedagna's account credit side we should post this entry. What to write in particulars column? We debited LR&D consignment account. Write down that. 1000 rupees. Next, consignee's commission. For consignment business, this commission is an expenditure. Therefore, debit side we should write 1500 rupees. So, while writing the journal entry, as 1500 is debited in LR&D consignment account, while writing the journal entry, LRD consignment account should be debited. And which account is to be credited? We don't pay this commission immediately. In future, from sales proceeds, consignee is going to deduct that 1500. So at present, consignee is becoming a creditor for this 1500. Creditor is a liability. Liability shows a credit balance. Therefore, Vedagna's account, creditor's account is to be credited. So for consignee's commission also same entry. For consignee's expenses, for consignee's commission, in consignor's books we have to pass same entries. Therefore, same posting to Vedagna account. In Vedagna's account credit side by LRD consignment account. Narration being the entry for commission payable. So for all transactions, we have written the journal entries and we have posted them. Finally, unsold stock adjustment we have to complete. Consignor said 50 boxes, but consignee sold only 40 boxes. So 10 boxes are unsold. This 10 boxes unsold stock value should ascertain now. Where below this goods sent on consignment account, we can show the calculation. Calculation of unsold goods value. First, cost of unsold stock we should take. How many boxes are sent by consignor? 50 boxes. So 50 boxes minus consignee sold 40 boxes. So unsold stock boxes are 10. Therefore 10 boxes into. Now the question is cost price we should take or invoice price we should take. Remember, when invoice price is given in the question, then we should take invoice price only while calculating unsold stock. Because while writing goods sent on consignment account, we have written invoice price. So for calculating unsold stock also, we should consider invoice price only. Therefore, into 1000, 10,000. Actually, this is a wrong amount. Correct amount is 10 boxes into 800 rupees, 8,000 we should take. So instead of writing correct amount 8,000, a wrong amount 10,000 we are writing. To this, proportionate direct expenses of consignor and consignee we should add. So consignor's all expenses are always direct expenses. So consignor expenditure 2,500 forwarding charges. Now the question is, on 50 boxes she spent 2,500. We need 10 boxes value. Therefore 10 boxes worth expenditure only we should add here. That is called proportionate expenses of consignor. For 50 boxes, if total expenditure is 2,500, for 10 boxes, expenditure is how much? 2,500 divided by 50 into 10. One numerator, one denominator we have to cancel now. Then 5 ones are 5 5s are 500 rupee. So on 10 boxes, consignor's expenditure is 500 rupees. That expenditure we should add to this 10,000. And consignee's direct expenditure also we should consider here. So direct expenditure means non-recurring expenditure. Only once. Indirect expenditure means recurring expenditure, repeated expenditure. Consignee spent 1,000 towards selling expenses. Selling expenses means maybe advertisement expenditure, maybe salesman commission. So on same goods, again and again these expenses are incurred. Means these are indirect expenses. Indirect expenses we should not add to unsold stock. Therefore, direct expenses of consignee is nil. So 10,000 plus 500, 10,500 is the value of unsold stock. Now this amount we should record in consignment account. Which side? Goods sent on consignment we are writing on debit side now. So unsold stock we have to show on credit side. Amount 10,500 rupees. In consignment account credit side we are posting. Means while writing the entry for unsold stock, consignment account should be credited. I am writing the entry here to LRD consignment account 10,500. Then which account is to be debited? This is closing stock in consignment business. Therefore, we should write consignment stock account. So, unsold stock entry is consignment stock account data to LRD consignment account. As LRD consignment account is credited, in consignment account credit side we should post. And what to write in particulars column? We debited consignment stock account now. Write down that. By consignment stock account. Narration being the entry for unsold stock. And second time you need not to post this entry anywhere because consignment stock account we are not preparing now. Now come to an important point, that is adjustments towards invoice price related loading amounts. Here we should write 50 boxes into 800 rupees, 40,000 no? Instead of writing 40,000, we are writing 50,000 rupees. Means 10,000 extra we are showing on expenditure side. So expenses we are increasing with 10,000 rupees. Similarly, unsold stock is to be calculated by taking cost price, but by taking invoice price we have calculated, and credit side we are writing, income side we are writing. So income also we are exceeding with some amount. How much amount? 8,000 plus 500, 8,500 is correct amount. But we have recorded 10,500. So 10,500 minus 8,500, 2,000 rupees excess income we are showing in consignment account. When higher expenses and higher incomes are recorded in consignment account, do we get correct profit or loss? No. So what is the purpose of preparing consignment account? To know the actual profit or loss in consignment business. If you want to know the correct profit or correct loss, correct expenses, correct incomes we should record now, not the exaggerated figures, not the dummy amounts. So these loading amounts we have to cancel. In goods sent on consignment account, 10,000 loading is there because actual value should be 40,000, but we have written 50,000. 50,000 minus 40,000, 10,000 is the loading amount. That 10,000 we have to cancel. Similarly, credit side, we should write 8,500 now, but we have recorded 10,500, 2,000 extra we wrote. This 2,000 loading amount also we should cancel. How to cancel in accounts? Other side if you write, then the amount will be cancelled. Debit amount if you want to cancel, then that amount credit side you should write. If credit amount you want to cancel, debit side you should write. So debit side 10,000 extra amount now I want to cancel. If I credit that 10,000 rupees in consignment account, then that 10,000 extra amount will be cancelled. So this 10,000 and in 50,000 10,000 both will get cancelled. In 50,000 if 10,000 is cancelled, remaining amount is 40,000. We want that amount only. And what to write here? Once you observe what we are written here, to goods sent on consignment account. Now same account name we should mention here. By goods sent on consignment account. Based on this, let us frame the journal entry. In consignment account, credit side we posted like this. I am writing the entry here. If you want to post like that, LRD consignment account should be credited. In particulars column, we wrote goods sent on consignment account. So we should debit goods sent on consignment account. So what is the entry for the loading in goods sent on consignment? Goods sent on consignment account data to LRD consignment account. Amount 10,000, 10,000. Narration being the entry for loading in goods sent on consignment. Now this entry appears in goods sent on consignment account also. So as goods sent on consignment account is debited, in goods sent on consignment account, debit side we should post. What to write? Other account name, LRD consignment account. Amount 10,000 rupees. So the loading in goods sent on consignment is cancelled. Now the same thing we have to apply for unsold stock loading also. How much extra we have? 2000 rupees. That 2000 if you debit, then in 10,500 one 2000 and this 2000 both will get cancelled. In 10,500 if 2000 is cancelled, then the remaining amount is 8,500. So actual unsold stock should be 8,500 only. For this 2000 what to write? Don't write consignment stock word. So don't apply this rule here. Here we wrote same name, no, goods sent on consignment word, but here you should write to consignment stock reserve account. And how this 2000 comes? Show the calculation here. Calculation is invoice price of unsold stock minus cost price of unsold stock. Invoice price of unsold stock. Unsold stock is 10 boxes. 10 boxes into 1 box invoice price is 1000 rupees. 1000. If you do this, then 10,000 is what? Invoice price of unsold stock minus cost price of unsold stock. Unsold stock quantity 10 boxes into cost price of 1 box 800 rupees. 10 boxes into 800 rupees is equal to 8,000 rupees. 8,000 is known as cost price of unsold stock. So the difference 2000 is called loading in unsold stock. So like a formula you can remember. Here how this 10,000 came? Invoice price of total goods. Total 50 boxes are sent on consignment basis now. 50 boxes into 1 box invoice price is 1000 rupees is equal to 50,000. So this 50,000 is known as invoice price of total goods sent on consignment minus cost price of total goods sent on consignment. Total goods sent on consignment 50 boxes into 1 box cost price is 800 rupees. This is 40,000. Difference 10,000. These two calculations you can show in consignment account only. So like a formula you can remember this. Invoice price of total goods sent minus cost price of total goods sent. Then you will get the loading in goods sent on consignment. Similarly, invoice price of unsold stock minus cost price of unsold stock. If you do this, you will get the loading in unsold stock. So finally what happened? In 10,500 loading amount 2000 we have cancelled by debiting 2000. In 50,000 rupees loading amount 10,000 we have cancelled by crediting 10,000 rupees. So loading related adjustments we have completed. So what is the journal entry for this consignment stock reserve for loading in unsold stock? LRD consignment account is debited here. So in journal entry, LRD consignment account debtor, because on debit side we are posting this 2000 now. 2. We wrote consignment stock reserve, write on that. So unsold stock loading entry is LRD consignment account to consignment stock reserve account. Amount 2000. Narration being the entry for unsold stock loading. In question, if two prices are given, then the meaning is he is giving cost price and invoice price both. Sometimes he may give like this. Consignor sent 50 boxes at invoice price 1000 rupees. Then don't think that this 1000 is called invoice price and don't search for cost price. Only one price is given. While giving that 1000 rupees, he used invoice price word. But that 1000 is cost price only. So you should understand that in pro forma invoice as the value of goods, he is mentioning 1000 rupees. Here 1000 is called cost price only. So by seeing that invoice price word, we should not understand that invoice price related problem is given. So when you should confirm that this is invoice price related problem and invoice price adjustments we should do, if two prices are given in the question. So cost price and other price. He may use any word here. Suppose selling price 1000 rupees or loaded price 1000 rupees. Any sentence he may use. But while giving the details about the goods sent on consignment, if two amounts are given, then the meaning is invoice price related problem is given in the question. Then which points you should remember? While writing goods sent on consignment entry, while writing unsold stock entry, you should write the entries at invoice price only. Point number 1. While calculating unsold stock value, instead of taking cost price, we should take invoice price only. As loading amounts we are writing on two sides, so that loadings we have to cancel by writing the loadings on opposite side. So unsold stock related loading debit side we should write, goods sent on consignment related loading credit side we should write. Invoice price related adjustments, they don't affect consignee's account. So in goods sent on consignment account debit side, there is a loading in goods sent on consignment, that amount comes, remember it. Now finally we have to close the three accounts. Consignment account, credit side total is more, so calculate the credit total minus debit total. Debit side total is 57,000 rupees. So 60,500 minus 57,000, 3,500. This 3,500, which side we should write? Where the total is less, that side. Debit side total is less. So debit side, write down this answer, 3,500. What is the meaning of this answer? Credit side we wrote income. Income total is 60,500. Debit side we wrote expenditure. Expenditure total is 57,000 rupees. So income is more than expenditure. Therefore the difference is profit in consignment business. And this profit we should transfer to profit and loss account. Therefore we should write to profit and loss account. So based on this, what is the journal entry for profit in consignment business? LRD consignment account debtor to profit and loss account. 3,500, 3,500. Narration being the entry for profit in consignment business. Now put the total, 60,500. Come to consignee's account. So consignee sold these goods for 40,000 rupees. From this 40,000, she deducts advance, her expenses and her commission. Remaining amount she has to pay to us. Let us calculate that remaining amount. Debit total is more, so put the total first. Minus credit total, 27,500 is equal to 12,500. What to write for this? How she is paying this amount? Sometimes she pays this amount in the form of cash. Sometimes in the form of check or DD. Sometimes by accepting a bill which is prepared by consignor. Here there is no proper information. So our assumption is she is paying this amount through a check. So we should write by bank account. What is the journal entry for this? In Vedagna's account, credit side we wrote bank account. If you want to post like that, in journal entry, Vedagna should be credited, bank should be debited. So entry is bank account debtor to Vedagna account, 12,500, 12,500. Narration being the entry for the due amount received from consignee. Put the total, 40,000 rupees. Come to goods sent on consignment account. In this account, credit total is more than debit total. So the difference, 40,000 rupees, appears on debit side. What to write for this? This 40,000 we can transfer to trading account or manufacturing account. So we are transferring to trading account. Trading account means while preparing final accounts in trading account, credit side along with our goods, consignor's goods related closing stock, consignment business related closing stock also appears. Entry In goods sent on consignment account, debit side we are writing trading account. If you want to post like this, while writing the journal entry, goods sent on consignment account should be debited, trading account should be credited. So goods sent on consignment account data to trading account. Narration being the entry for unsold stock. Put the totals two sides. With this, consignor's books completed. Consignor's books, journal entries. Below that journal, ledger. In ledger, consignment account, consignee's account, goods sent on consignment account. So these three we have prepared. Next, consignee's books, Vedagna's books. In her books, journal of Vedagna, journal entries I will not write on the board, I will explain. Below to that, ledger of Vedagna. Ledger of Vedagna, consignee. In consignee's books, only one account we should prepare. That is consignor's account, Manasvi account. Because she is concerned with only that point. Finally, how much amount I have to pay to consignor. That amount she wants to know. So she is not interested in the profit or loss which is generated by consignor. And she cannot ascertain also. And goods sent on consignment. For consignor, it is goods sent on consignment. For consignee, it is goods received on consignment. When goods are received on consignment basis, consignee is going to record them in stock ledger. Therefore, she need not to prepare any account for that. So only consignor's account we have to prepare in consignee's books. And now your assumption is you are working as an accountant in consignee's firm. So all transactions we should think from consignee's point of view. So first what happened? Consignee received goods on consignment basis from consignor. She records that in stock ledger, not here. Therefore, you need not to pass any journal entry for this. Next, consignor's expenses, 2500. Consignee is not concerned with this expenditure now. So in her books, we need not to write any entry for consignor's expenses. Then advance. Consignee has given this advance to consignor. As consignee is only giving this advance, in her books we have to write the journal entry. So consignee may give this advance in cash form, check or DD form, or by accepting a bills of exchange which is prepared by consignor. In present question, there is no information. Our assumption is she paid this amount through a check. So what should be the entry for this? 25,000 is paid to Manasvi. In future, Manasvi has to return this 25,000 rupees to consignor. So to consignor, Manasvi is becoming a debtor for this 25,000 rupees. Debtor means asset. Asset should be debited because asset shows debit balance. So while writing the journal entry, consignor's name, Manasvi account should be debited. 2. Consignee gave a check. So consignor takes that amount from her bank account. So her bank is becoming a giver here. So bank account is a personal account. Personal account rule, debit the receiver, credit the giver. As consignee's bank is paying the amount, bank becomes a giver. We should credit bank account. So this is the entry for paying the advance through a check. Manaswini account debtor to bank account. Narration, being advance is paid through a check. We are preparing Manasvi account. As Manasvi account is debited, on debit side we should post. What to write in particulars column? Other account name, bank account. To bank account. Advance amount 25,000 rupees. Next what happened? Consignee sold 40 boxes at the rate of 1,000 rupees each. I am consignee. I only sold these goods on consignment basis. 40 boxes into 1,000 rupees, 40,000 came to me. How I am selling? There is no information in the books. My assumption is I sold these goods on cash basis and I received check from customers. So these checks we deposit in our bank. Our bank collects the amount from customer's bank and that amount will be deposited in bank account. So banker is becoming a receiver for this 40,000 rupees. debit the receiver. Therefore, bank account we should debit. Bank account debtor to. You may think that we have to write sales. Because in inter first year we used to write like that only. Cash sales. Entry is cash account data to sales account. Sold goods to Prabhu. Entry is Prabhu account data to sales account. Don't write sales here. Because this is not our income. For our business, if we sell goods, you can write sales. Consignors goods we are selling. We are only an agent here. So don't write sales word. Instead of that, what to write? This 40,000 in future we have to return to consignor. So to us, to consignee, consignor is becoming a creditor for this 40,000 rupees. Creditor is a liability. Liability shows a credit balance. Therefore, creditor's name, Manasvi, account should be credited. This is the entry for sales. Bank account debtor to Manasvi account. Amount 40 boxes into 1000 rupees, 40,000. Narration being the entry for sales. Now this entry we should post in Manasvi account. As Manasvi account is credited, on credit side we should post this entry. By bank account, 40,000 rupees. Next, consignee's expenses. In consignee's books we should write. So I am consignee, I am paying this 1000 rupees. So from my bank account, 1000 is going. Generally our assumption is we pay the expenses through checks, we receive amounts and we deposit that amount directly in our bank account. That is why everywhere bank we are writing. So through check, consignee paid this 1000 rupees. So bank is giving 1000 rupees. Banker is a giver. As per personal account rule, bank account should be credited. And this 1000 at present consignee is paid. But consignee need not to bear this 1000 rupees. Because consignor's goods we are selling. In favor of consignor, we are spending this 1000 rupees expenditure. So in future, we get this amount from consignor. So for this 1000 rupees, consignor is becoming a debtor because she has to pay this amount. So debtor means asset, asset shows a debit balance. Therefore, we should debit consignor's name. Manasvi account debtor to bank account. This is the entry for consignee's expenses in consignee's books. Manasvi account is debited. So in Manasvi account, debit side we should post to bank account, 1000 rupees. Then come to commission, 1500 rupees. For consignee, this commission is income. Incomes come under nominal accounts. Nominal account rule, debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. As commission is income to consignee, in consignee's books, we have to credit commission account. Don't debit bank because immediately this commission is not coming. From sales proceeds, consignee is going to deduct this commission. So for this 1500, consignor is becoming a debtor. In future, from consignor, we have to receive this 1500. So consignor is a debtor. Debtor means asset. Asset shows a debit balance. Therefore, we should debit consignor's account. Manasvi account debtor to commission account. This is the entry for commission in consignee's books. As Manasvi account is debited, debit side we should post to commission account. Commission amount 1500. See, there is no adjustment towards invoice price because why invoice price adjustments are needed? To know the correct profit or correct loss. Who is concerned with the profits or loss in consignment business? Consignor, not a consignee. So consignee is concerned with only his commission. That is why we need not to show any invoice price related adjustments in consignee's books. Then finally balance this account. Debit total is more than credit total. Difference is 40,000 minus 27,500 is equal to 12,500. We said we should write that amount. Debit side total is less. Write down on debit side. And what is the meaning of this amount? We sold consignor's goods for 40,000. From this amount, we are deducting our advance 25,000. our expenses 1000, our commission 1500, and the balance amount we are giving to consignor in the form of a check. So this is the due amount. We paid that amount through check. Therefore, we should write to bank account. Then two sides put the totals. What is the entry for this answer? In Manasvi's account, debit side we wrote bank. If you want to post like that, in journal entry, Manasvi account should be debited and bank account should be credited. So entry is Manasvi account data to bank account, being the due amount is paid through a check. So one should recollect consignee's account in consignor's books and consignor's account in consignee's books. One should compare these two accounts. The amounts which we have debited in consignee's account in consignor's books, all these amounts we have credited here. Similarly, the amounts which we have credited in consignee's account in consignor's books, all those amounts here we have debited. So debit amounts come on credit, credit amounts of that account come on debit. But in particulars column you cannot write same words. And one more point is, if you observe all the entries in consignee's books, everywhere consignor's name is coming. So like a hint you can remember, whatever entry we record in consignee's books, compulsory consignor's account comes. So this is all about 11th problem from consignment accounts topic. Hope this video is helpful to you. Thank you.